please join me in welcoming Andy Jassy, CEO of AWS, to the stage of VMworld. Andy, it really is great to have you here with us today.
Thank you for having us. We've been working together for a long time to get to today, so it's great to be here with all of you.
Yeah, you know, any journey, hundreds of engineers working on things. It is thrilling to get to this day and announce the availability of VMware Cloud on AWS starting now. And this really is the ultimate hybrid solution, that we've developed together. The ability to run any application on vSphere and now be able to seamlessly take that private cloud environment and move it into the public cloud and use VMware software that you're familiar with to manage both your on-premise as well as your in-the-cloud infrastructure as well.
Yeah, as more and more mainstream enterprises have started making their long-term plans in the cloud, they would say to us, it's great that you've built a bunch of tools that make it easy for us to run our on-premises data centers alongside AWS, but since most of the world is virtualized on VMware, and since AWS and VMware haven't really done anything to integrate seamlessly, you're forcing us into this binary choice where either we move to the cloud with AWS and we can't use the VMware tools we've been using for a long time, or we stick with the VMware tools and it's much harder to use AWS in the cloud. And they hated this binary decision that we were forcing on them. And so VMware Cloud on AWS gives them the best of both worlds. It gives them the world's leading private cloud provider, alongside easily being able to be used with the world's leading public cloud provider. It's, the offering is really the only one that's operated and managed by VMware, and you can use your licenses to leverage here, and so people are pretty fired up about this.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, but also our customers are excited about it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. As I mentioned earlier, as a customer, if you can use the same tools that you've been using to manage your on-premises infrastructure and easily run that with AWS, it's very attractive. And then you get the same operational consistency and compatibility you're used to using with this offering. You don't have to kind of adopt a brand new operating model for your on-premises infrastructure. You don't have to adopt a new model just to be able to get consistency between your on-premises and your cloud environments. You can use vCenter and the same tools you're used to running your infrastructure and run those easily alongside AWS. And then at the same time, it's much more cost effective than what you could do otherwise. I think if you look at some of the other options out there for this type of offering, it costs a few $100,000 to spin up a few instances plus professional services. And then to do anything meaningful, you're looking at a couple $1 million. Yick. So this is much more cost effective, what we're doing together.
And here's a sampling of some of the early customers, and we've just gotten great reaction from our Lighthouse and beta customers as well, and some of their use cases are quite compelling as well. For instance, Moody's, the credit rating service, it's a great example customer looking at cloud migration. And they're looking to capture those cost efficiencies that you were just describing, some of the agility, but they didn't want to refactor their current applications and were struggling with how they could move to the cloud without having to re-platform and re-architect their applications. And VMware Cloud on AWS solved that for them, a low-risk path to the cloud with minimal disruption to their IT and business operations.
Yeah, or you can look at a company like Ricoh, which makes printers and cameras, and they have a bunch of compute-intensive R&D they do where they're going to use the offering to do cyclical computing and disaster recovery.
Yeah, and another customer, Scripps Networks, that I referenced earlier in the keynote. And as they expand globally, they're interested in hybrid services to execute their next-generation app structure, even as they're using it to scale up more rapidly internationally. It's how do they build their next-generation app services as well. So that's part of what they're looking at for this capability. And we're also seeing a lot of enthusiasm from our partner ecosystem. Key system integrators, and DXC is a great example of that, where DXC, really the formation of CSC along with the HP services business coming together. They were a great partner of yours for Amazon as well. They've been a great partner of ours as well. And now as we bring our capabilities together, they're excited to really lead in making this hybrid service offering something that they can bring to market in a powerful way.
And, Accenture and Deloitte and Capgemini and Rackspace, those are some other systems integrators that are really excited about the offering and have really gotten themselves prepared to help all of you to start taking advantage of it.
And as you see on the slide here as well, even though this is just the initial availability of the service, we already have a rich ecosystem of tech partners who are bringing their capabilities specifically designed and validated for this service offering already in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the roadmap a little bit and where we're going, because this, as a cloud service, initial availability is just the beginning, right? And even though it's available today in one availability zone in the West region, we'll be moving that to the East Coast region and then internationally. And our commitment is to have it available globally, that before the end of next year, every one of your availability zones is a center for the VMware Cloud Service as well.
Yeah, well, any type of roadmap for us, is, and I'm sure it's true for you as well, is driven by what all of you tell us matters to you. And the vast majority of what we build as a whole in AWS is driven by what customers want. And the same will be true here. We'll listen very closely to what you'd like to see us continue to build together and do so. And there's some obvious ones, geographic expansion, as Pat just mentioned, and there's a whole bunch of ways that I think together, along with our partners, will help you get going on top of the offering. But, I'd also say that most of these types of partnerships that you see tend to be optical and really marketing flash rather than substance. There's not much going on with the teams beneath the announcement. And I would say the opposite is really true here. I think, from the very start, both Pat and I have been deeply involved, and our senior leaders, and really the teams up and down have, I think, a pretty unusual working relationship where they've gotten a lot done in a short amount of time, very collaboratively, which I think bodes well for all of you, that we will not only be able to listen to what you care about and iterate on your behalf, but also it's just really the beginning of what we can do together.
Yeah, and as the engineering teams, marketing teams, we're really just scratching the surface of what we're going to do together, Andy.
Great.
This is really thrilling. Well, thank you so much to the VMworld audience. Thank you, Andy, for joining us. You honor us by your presence here. Let's again thank Andy Jassy.
Thank you.